you're saying something really profound here that I just wanted to kind of call out real quick, is that in listening to God in this world that is filled with, that feels fractured at times and feels like it has glitches at times and is completely feels permeated with darkness at times, you're you're flipping it, and you're not just saying that our job isn't to listen. You're not just saying that our job is to listen to God. You're saying, you're flipping it and saying God is listening to us, and therefore, I mean, that is, I mean, the visual you gave from the Psalms is a stunning one. That our tears are being collected in a flask. I mean, so now all of a sudden, I don't even like the phrase all of a sudden, because the process is so messier than that, and it's not a light bulb moment at all. But I know, at least for me, in my darkest days, whenever whenever I did feel as if I was not alone and that God was meeting me where I was, as mysterious and baffling as that could seem, that God is listening to my anger and to my frustration and to my confusion and to my hurt and everything, and to my curse words, and to, like, and God still dares to listen to me. Now I can trust that God that wants to listen, to that doesn't turn God's back on the pain, or even try to explain the pain away, but just enters more deeply into it. It still doesn't make anything make sense. However, in a weird, mysterious way, for me, it was enough.
The power of, like, any type of lament, and then getting to the joy, it will happen. It's a process, you go around. So when I first discovered when I first committed to a psalm practice, which was basically I was going to read a psalm a day, but it didn't matter what order it was. I would just randomly pick one. So when I turned 50, my life completely turned upside down, and I still don't really understand all of what happened. But so within a 2-year period, I was diagnosed with cancer and had several surgeries. And then I'd been married for 23, 24 years at the time. My marriage fell apart in a very, very tumultuous way. Like, all of a sudden, that was just gone. So my family of 4 was gone. I had to have a new identity from being married to, I had this new word, divorced, which was horrible to me. And I ended up moving out of our home. Like, it wasn't sustainable that I could live in our home that we'd had for 18 years. So that was gone. And then I can't even, like, sometimes I hear this list and I'm like, oh my God, Maureen, seriously? And then I had a horrible fall in my own driveway on my 23rd wedding anniversary, when my husband and I first separated, and I completely lost use of my left wrist. I shattered my wrist and had to have 2 surgeries. It was insane. And I was literally broken. And I just will insert a little dark humor. Anything in the Psalms about bones, broken bones being healed, I totally loved, because I was literally broken. I was scared. I was just so broken on every level. And something just came to me where I thought, I am going to read a psalm a day. I'm going to start every day reading a psalm. I have no idea necessarily what brought me to that, why I was obviously guided. But the story that I tell in What Was Lost is that I thought I would pray my marriage back into shape. I would pray really, really, really hard. And I would say, love is kind, love is patient, and all of that. I would say our wedding vows every day, and that would make it magically happen. I would magically have my marriage come back. And that is not what happened. my Bible fell open one day. It was my old Bible with a broken spine, and it fell open to Psalm 23, and I read it, and it was like, I need a new path. I need this new path. And so that spiritual practice of the Psalms, just, oh my gosh, it just so got me through that entire time. And your sharing of when you kind of like cursing and getting angry in What Was Lost, I have a section where I completely lost it on God. One day I was driving on a highway and I couldn't see clearly, like my windshield wiper fluid stopped working, and I'm like hurtling down this highway, trucks are going by me. I just tell this whole story of, oh my gosh, like I am going to lose my mind. And I did lose my mind. I ended up just screaming at God, like, what do you want from me? Like, you've taken everything from me. It was the weekend before my divorce and my house being sold within 48 hours. I was just screaming at God. And I just like, when I was done, the car was so quiet and my body was so quiet. And then like the miracle could come once I got that out. And once I knew God was listening to this, you have got to be kidding me. You have taken everything from me. And so the peace that came to me after that, after I got that out, and it actually strengthened my relationship with God, because it was as if I just let God have it. And I blew out my voice, it was that bad. And then I was able to accept everything, and I just kind of quietly kept driving. It sounds so crazy. But I also, the other funny part about that was that before I lost it, I stopped at a gas station to get tapped. I needed wiper fluid. I didn't know what was happening. And I swear this is the truth. The kid who sold me the wiper fluid was wearing an Our Lady of Guadalupe t-shirt. Like he had this huge Our Lady of Guadalupe. And I just, I was protected. I realized, you're on your journey. But I think in terms of listening and really getting to that fundamental element of grief, that rock level, just grief. And I have never had that happen since then. I've had anger and I've had disappointment, but that was as low as it got, I would say. And what a gift that was. I just was able to really move on to more acceptance, healing, openness. And so it must have been like maybe January, February, March. Within about 12 weeks after that is when I found myself in Italy, outside of Cortona at La Cella, where I had never felt such peace. I went to the place where Francis lived for 2 years, and I had a spiritual awakening of I had never felt that much peace after being where he had been. And so I guess maybe what I'm saying is that, these ideas of say healing, listening, feeling heard absolutely leads to healing. It's not a straight path. It's not even a zigzaggy path. It is back to our spiral. It is a spiral. But when I think about it now, that within weeks after really expressing that grief, that such grief and anger and disappointment, all of a sudden it hollowed me out to being able to feel that sense of peace, but also the gift of being where Francis had walked.